Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to take apart a 3x3, clean it a little bit, and put it back together, put some lube in it if you would like. I wouldn't take your cube apart and clean it out very thoroughly unless you do have something to lube it up with. Once again, I'm not an expert, this is just what I do to do it, and all you really need is a Phillips head screwdriver, some lube, and maybe like a napkin or something like that. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take off all of the center caps, and if you're unsure about how to take these center caps off, you should just be able to get a fingernail underneath of there and pull one of them off. And you'll notice on each side there's going to be a Phillips head screw, and if it's not a Phillips head screw, it might be a flathead screw, but at the end of the day, probably a Phillips head screw. Unless you have a GAN cube and it uses those GAN nuts, or the MOU cube, which uses the MOU tensioning system now, which is even easier to deal with. But the reason I'm saying take off all the caps rather than just one and loosen one of them up is just in case you like how your cube is tensioned, you want to get a good idea of how deep all of these screws are. Because the deeper the screw is, the more tight the cube is going to be. I've never really taken this cube apart. It is the first speed cube I've ever had, and before I really got into it, I never even thought about taking it apart because I was too afraid to take it apart. But it looks like all the tensioning is roughly the same on all of them. So what we're going to do is we're just going to unloosen one side and rip one piece out. So let's get started on that. So I'm going to use my MOU screwdriver, even though you could just use any screwdriver. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Oh yeah, that sucker's tight. So we're really going to unloosen it quite a bit. You can measure the number of turns you do and 90-degree rotations if you want. But the looser you make it, the easier it is to take apart. I'm going to make mine relatively loose, get it all the way to the top, and we're literally just going to yank a piece out. I always yank this center piece out first. Let's see what's going to come out. Let's loosen it up a little more. If you have to loosen it up all the way, that's also fine. It's really loose now. It should just come right apart. Oh yeah. Now that one piece is out, you're going to see it's just going to come apart naturally. Once it comes apart, you know, just take the whole thing apart and we'll take a look at each piece individually from there. It was tight on those sides. I may even loosen it up myself at the end. But as a cuber with a little bit of long hair, I did even have some of my own hair ripped off on the inside. So it definitely needed to get cleaned. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to wipe down all these pieces. Each piece, just wipe it down a little bit. It's really no big deal. And you're going to notice all this gunk coming off of it. That's the old lube. It's probably not dust if it's black coming off, but we're just going to give each piece a thorough little wipe down. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to do this. But if you look at some of these pieces right here, they are pretty dirty. Let's see if we can get a zoom in on that. They are pretty dirty, they are pretty beat up. So it was time to get this cube cleaned up a bit. You can tell just by running your finger across this sucker. You can probably wipe, yeah, this needs to get cleaned. Oh boy. Alright, so just wipe all the pieces down and we'll be back here in a second. Oh, there we go. Let's zoom back in on the pieces. Sorry about that. A little out of focus because it was up close. But I'm going to pause the video and get these pieces cleaned up a bit. Nothing special here. Alright, so first thing we really need to do is put the pieces out. I've made sure that all of the white corners are together, all of the yellow corners are together, all of the white edges, all of the yellow edges, and all of the non-white or yellow edges. And we're going to start building a white bottom. The way we're going to do that is we're going to put these edge pieces in first. Notice this is the, what is it, white green? Slide it in right where an edge piece would go. And where is the green piece? White green. Make sure that white goes on the bottom. Slide it right in. It's a little easier if you have a magnetized cube, but should it go in now? No, we should really put all of our edge pieces in next. So if you don't remember, we're going to put that orange piece in. Here it is. White orange. I'm going to go right here. Put it in upside down by mistake. No big deal. Now if you really wanted to, you could slide this piece in and go from there. And we're going to continue doing this until we have a full layer on the bottom. I guess I'll let you guys watch it while I do this. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. A little boring to watch, but someone did request for a little bit of help. I've screwed up a little bit. This should have been on the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate these edges just a little bit. Leave the loosest one on top. That's probably the best troubleshooting tip I can give you. I thought I was doing that, to be honest. Get this guy in there. Where's the last edge? Here it is. Get these corners in. This one is white green, red. Just slide them right in. Put it in the wrong way. Slide it right in. Now remember, the bottom was tensioned quite a bit, so it will pop right in there and it will hold nice and snug. There we go, we're done one layer. Remember, keep the loosest one on top. Remember, all four of these are relatively tensioned. We're going to slip all of our edge pieces in the appropriate spot. I like to line them up first on the outside of the cube. It's not necessary. And now we're on to the last layer, and remember, this is really loose up here. Once again, I like to line up all my pieces. A joke is kind of, if you were trying to summon a Rubik's Cube, I guess this is what it would look like, a demonic summoning stone of some sort. But let's try to slide these guys in there. Edge pieces first, maybe. Really doesn't matter too much at this point. It's so loose, I think anything could fit in there, to be honest with you. But the last piece we're going to be sliding in there is an edge piece. So whatever you do, save one edge piece for the very end. And I'll give you best case scenario, worst case scenario for getting it in there. And this is the part that's going to take a little bit of finagling if you've never done it before. And if you have a, once again, if you have a magnetized cube, this is a lot easier because the pieces start to stick together, we'll say. Slide it right in there. And now the last and final piece. What you want to do is you kind of want to wedge it like that. Put a little bit of tension on there, get a little bit of room for it to come in. And just pop it in. There you go. Now you obviously don't want to start playing with this yet. You want to take your screwdriver, in my case the Moyu screwdriver, and tighten it back up to the desired tension. You want to make sure all the sides are roughly the same. That's why we checked them all at the beginning. Let's check this side. This side can go a little tighter. A little tighter, quarter turns. Since this isn't my main cube is a GAN that uses the numerical IPG. I'm not going to be too exact with this one. Just want to make sure it gets in there. So the next thing is, it should be kind of grainy at this point. So you have to make sure you have some good lube from one of these cubing websites. A couple drops will do it. On this one it says put 2 drops in and then break in and play. I'm going to put my caps back on. I guess if you also wanted a different color scheme on your cube, you know, don't convince yourself that you could put it back the wrong way. Can't. It says 2 drops and break in, but that's usually 2 drops and break in on a cube that has already has a little bit of lube in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a drop on each corner here. We're going to go 4 drops. 1. Put a drop right in here. 2. Just 4 random spots. Even if it's the same spot, I guess it wouldn't matter too much. It would just take a little more break-in time. 3. And last but not least, we'll do this white side right here. Hopefully that's one that I haven't done yet. I guess we'll get a good laugh out of it if I screwed that up. Don't want to waste any lube. We'll just stick that in there and rub it around a bit. Get the tip clean. And we'll just break it in, and there you go. That's how you disassemble your cube. Clean it up a bit. Get it re-lubed. And that is a lot faster. I think this is the fastest this cube has ever been. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video or have any other requests, let me know. I have taken apart... Wow, this is really nice now. Jeez. Might need to stick some magnets in it, right? And then main it. No, not really. But it is a heck of a lot better than it used to be. Thanks for watching, guys.